Hello, I'm Sarah Joy, and welcome to Sarah's Joyful Journey. This is a new project for me. On this YouTube channel, you're going to find information about me and my journey to regain my health and achieve my PhD in health psychology. In this first video, I would just like to talk a little bit about myself and introduce myself to you guys. Don't know if anyone's ever really going to watch this, but I still want to document it mostly for me so that I can see my progress and see how far I've come and how much I have achieved, as I tend to lose sight of that. I think that we can all struggle with that sometimes. So as I said, my name is Sarah Joy. Sarah Joy is my first and middle name together. It's a very special name for me, so I've pretty much adopted it permanently now instead of just Sarah. Although you can call me just Sarah, I will answer to that as well. But my dad is responsible for my middle name, and he used to always call me Sarah Joy, and he's been gone for many years now. So it's really kind of like a special nod to him, just that I just acknowledge myself as Sarah Joy. So how did we get here, where I am today? It's been a long struggle with weight. Most of my adult life, I should say all of my adult life. I met my husband when I was 19, and we got married very quickly, which is fine. We celebrate our 25th anniversary in just over a week, so we're excited about that. It wasn't too long after that we discovered that we were pregnant with our first child. That's when I really started packing on the pounds because I was still very young and I wasn't living at home. I was on my own with a husband for the first time, so I had access to things that I didn't have access to before. So I was responsible for cooking all the meals. I was responsible for buying all the food, which was something that was very different. And I grew up in a household where we didn't always have access to a lot of food. We were rather poor. So I have food insecurities and struggles from that. So being able to access food and buy whatever I wanted and cook whatever I wanted, and being pregnant and falsely assuming that I can eat whatever I want because I'm pregnant, led to me gaining almost 100 pounds while I was pregnant with my first daughter. I started my pregnancy at about 145. I ended it at about 225. So it was quite a lot of weight to gain in a short amount of time. I had lots of health issues related to that during my pregnancy that resulted in my daughter and I almost dying. After that, I struggled to try and lose weight, and I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was eating the standard American diet. I was trying to count my calories and restrict my calories, as well as get some physical activity in, which was very difficult because my daughter was born premature. Not long after that, my husband and I decided to go ahead and have another baby, and our second daughter was born 2.5 years after our first. I found out in the second pregnancy that I did have gestational diabetes. My doctor assumed, because I had a different doctor, assumed that I had gestational diabetes the first time, but unfortunately I did not receive great medical care with my first pregnancy, which left a lot of trauma. But I did my best with my second pregnancy to not gain a whole lot of weight. I think I managed only to gain like 30 or 40, which was not bad, all things considered. I did not have to take any medication for my gestational diabetes. I did pretty well with it just through diet and exercise. After she was born, it was probably 4 or 5 years later. I was probably 26, 27 when I did find out that I was a type 2 diabetic, and probably had been for a really long time, if we're going to be honest. So I knew that I did not want to go down the route of having to use insulin, but I wasn't really sure on what diabetes really was. So I knew that I could control it through diet and exercise, but I didn't know how to do that. So that began many years of roller coaster dieting between low carb and the standard American diet, trying to achieve health. I have tried Atkins, I have tried Weight Watchers. I have tried Jenny Craig. I even did a stint where I was very successful on a diet called Trim Healthy Mama. That was about 9 years ago. And during that course, I lost 70 pounds. I, of course, would stumble and fall and get right back off the diet and gain all the weight I had lost back and then some. It was about a year ago when I was told for the third time that I had diabetes, that I was like, enough is enough and I'm done. I don't want to live this way anymore. I said, I want to regain my health. I do not want to die early. I do not want to have heart disease. I want to be able to move around and enjoy my life. I wasn't enjoying life very much at that point. I was 295 pounds at my recorded highest. I know I was more than that. I just refused to get on the scale, like so many of us. So last year, July 5th, a random day I just happened to pick and said, today's the day. I'm done. I started working on going back to what I knew would work, which was low carb. I exist in the keto space. I eat mostly meat, a meat-based diet. It's what works for me. It keeps me full. It keeps my cravings down. And it allows me to be active and feel my best. So I have managed to achieve a lot of success in the past 11 and a half months. I'm not going to go into too much detail on that in this video because my 1-year anniversary is coming up and I want to go into more detail with it as well as outline my goals for the following year. But I'm very excited to be here and be in this space. My husband and I, like I have said, have been married 25 years and just over a week from tomorrow to be exact. It's not been an easy road because like I said, I got married at 19. So I am going to be 45 this year. We have 2 adult children. They live in different states. So my youngest lives with us here in Florida and my oldest lives in North Carolina where we lived before we moved here. My husband and I both work for Walt Disney World. We do generally enjoy our jobs most of the time. So you will see and hear a little bit about our adventures at Disney and in Florida, as well as maybe potentially a little bit about my job. I am a geek. It's just the best way to say it. My job at Disney is I work in merchandise. I work in the area of Hollywood Studios called Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I have been there since the area opened in 2019, so we're going on 4 years now. I always liked Star Wars. I did not anticipate that I would get to work in that area until I got my interview. Previously to this, like I said, we did live in North Carolina. We lived there for about 16 years, which was where we lived most of the time with our daughters and where they were raised. They do consider it home, even though I am originally from San Diego, California, where I was born and raised. I married my husband, who I adore, like I said, when I was 19, and he was in the military at the time, so we did a lot of moving. So I've been all over the country. I have not explored the world, although I would love to do that one day. He's always begging me to go on adventures, and hopefully one day we'll actually be able to go on more adventures outside of the United States. We moved to Florida 4 years ago. I will share the story of how we got here because I think it's kind of funny. We were in the process of having to move out of our home. We lost our home and we were going to move across town. So as a joke, I decided to tag my husband in a post for a job at Walt Disney World doing security. It had long been his dream to move to Florida and work in Walt Disney World. So like I said, I tagged him in that post and said, "Hun, I found your dream job." Unbeknownst to me, he applied for said job. 2 days later, he had an interview. 24 hours after that, he had a job. So I said, "Are we moving across town?" Or are we shifting gears and moving out of state? He goes, I want the job. It's like, okay, you do realize this was a pay cut for us at this point. Didn't know how we were going to get here. So I decided to trust God and trust my husband that we could achieve this dream. And I applied for my job at Walt Disney World. It was about a week later that I was hired and I found out my location. We packed everything up and we moved here in August of 2019. We've been here since. We do love Florida. It's grown on me. I didn't always like it. But now that I am able to get out and feel better and move more and enjoy being outside more, I am really starting to love it. There's a lot of great adventures that we want to have here and will continue to have here. So you'll hear about those, I'm sure, on this channel. How I got started on my educational journey, I'll go ahead and share a little bit about that. I was a stay-at-home mom for most of my children's lives. This was my big dream as a teenager. I knew I wanted to get married and have kids and be there for my kids and be around for my kids because my mom worked really hard and she was a single mom. So I didn't have parental influence around all the time. And with my husband being in the military, it was very important to both of us that they had a consistent and stable parent. So when my oldest daughter graduated from high school, I had the epiphany that I was too young to retire and stay home. I needed to do something. But what? So we started going with her to colleges and learning more about the colleges in North Carolina. It was in a welcome weekend to entice students, high school students, into a college that she fell in love with the campus. And that's when I decided, I think I want to go back to school. I want that college degree. But what was the question? After many hours of research, which is also pretty important because I have found out in the past few years that I am autistic. And it makes sense on how much time I spent in pouring into researching about myself and about what I wanted to do as an adult. I landed on psychology. My daughter and I chose to start school at the same school, different campuses, and we both graduated in 2020 in May with our bachelor's degrees. Hers is in a different subject, of course, but I have mine in psychology. I knew when I was doing my initial research before going back to school that I would want a PhD. This is a personal goal, and I'm excited to be on the journey for it. I originally wanted to pursue a degree in clinical health psychology. It's the only thing I wanted to do. And then we moved here to Florida, and I had to work. So that closed the door on that dream, and I spent some time struggling to figure out a new dream and how I would exist in this psychology space that I am so passionate about. I did try a school here in Florida that was online and I could do in person. It did not work out well for me, and I felt rushed, was put in the wrong program, and did not receive the support the way that I wished to. So my gut told me pretty much from day one that that was not the right path for me. And people kept telling me, oh, it's just your anxiety, just give it a try. I did. It didn't work. I did drop that program within the first 2 weeks. And then, of course, Walt Disney World has a program called Aspire. So I tried to figure out how I could get a master's paid for that. So I felt that I would try mental health counseling because it was very similar to clinical psychology, but counseling really wasn't my passion, and it wasn't what I wanted to do with a clinical psych degree. I wanted to be involved in research and teaching and shaping the next generation, as well as helping adults achieve their goal. So I tried that program, and of course, like I suspected, it was not for me, and I was trying to achieve goals that someone else had set out for me. And that does not work well. I did try one other psychology program before I realized that I need to do this for me and only for me. Thus, I have now started on my PhD in health psychology, and I couldn't be happier about this journey. It's going to be long and hard and very tough to maintain my health as I continue to regain my health on my journey to my PhD and my doctorate. What do I want to do within that PhD once I'm done? As I've already mentioned, I would like to teach, but I also want to use my degree to help others change their lives. I can see me being able to do that as a health and wellness coach. So eventually I will be pursuing that as well. So what are we going to see here on this channel? You're going to see about my life, about how I work hard to continue to regain my health, because I have not yet achieved all my health goals, even though this year has been drastically different and great improvements have been made. I still struggle with the mental health aspects of eating and why I overeat and what I chose to eat. A lot of hard, dedicated work has gone into changing not just my physical health. Physical health is one thing, but your mental health affects your physical health. And if you do not have your mental health, it's harder to achieve your physical health. There is balance in these things, which is why I chose health psychology as a degree, because it's something that I am passionate about. I am passionate about health. I am passionate about helping people be the healthiest version they can be of themselves, because I haven't been healthy. I have struggled with mental health issues and depression and suicide ideations. But that can change, and that life can be full of joy and happiness, and you can achieve your dreams at any age. So that's why this channel is called Sarah's Joyful Journey. It is my joyful journey into achieving my dreams. And hopefully along the way, I can inspire you and help you achieve your dreams and your goals. I want this space to be also about community and about what I'm learning and how I'm growing. Because the more we share, the more we inspire, and the more that we can change lives. And that is my goal, is to change not just my life, but to help have impacts so that other people can change their lives for the better, so that they can live that full and happy life with full of movement and love and laughter and all those things that really matter at the end of the day. So thank you for taking this time to watch this short video. My goal with this channel is to post at least one video a week. I would love to do more, and I will do more as I can. But as I have already said, I'm at the beginning of my PhD program. I'm 3 weeks in. I'm still figuring out how to be a doctoral student. And I'm still figuring out what this channel is going to look like. But I wanted to jump in with both feet, like I always do, and just get it started. So thank you for taking the time to watch this video and enjoy this space with me. I will see you again shortly. Thank you